What's good, Faith Walkers? Welcome back. We're going to talk today about something that doesn't feel the best, but I have coined as a vulnerability hangover. Okay? So we're going to talk about that because as we start arising and shining, okay, as we start showing up in the brilliance that we are formed, shaped, and anointed to be, we don't always think through what comes with that, and that can be disruptive to our insides and just to our immediate environment. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. There are some exciting things happening. Right now, we are in full capacity season. Full capacity season is inspired by my new book, Full Capacity, How to Live Ridiculously Free and Fuel a Life Without Limits. It comes out on March 21st, and it's going to be a time. Not only are we going to have a book launch celebratory moment and party, we just decided that we're going to do a full day event, okay? So you can join us live for that in Austin, Texas, but leading up to it, we have so many experiences and encounters that are absolutely amazing as well. So we have currently happening, which you're welcome to join. It is totally free, the 40-day full capacity devotional series. So every day in your inbox, you will get literally a handwritten capacity rhythm that I have just sat to develop and also supplement with some reels on my social media. If you want to follow me at Juliana Page Ministries, you can do so. But that is just such beautiful content to help you find a new rhythm, to develop the capacity that God wants to cultivate in you, whether that's for courage, whether it's for faith, whether it's for stillness and peace, whatever it happens to be for you, that is designed to help you find your new capacity rhythm for free. Okay, so whenever you start, we happen to start on February 9th, but whenever you start, you are welcome to join and just go through the 40 days. Okay? Secondly, starting on the 24th, February 24th, okay? So if you happen to see this after February 24th, you can still join, but we officially start on February 24th. We are doing a live activation for 4 weeks leading straight into the full capacity launch on March 21st. So from that first Tuesday, February 24th, all the way up to launch week, we are meeting live on Tuesdays and going through a live activation of training and activation around capacity specifically and also ridiculous freedom. So it's going to really help you get immersed in the content and really prepare for launch day and what happens after launch day. Because like I said, we are in full capacity season. Okay, so we got some excited announcements at the launch. But when you sign up for the live activation, you also get access to the launch event, whether you're joining us in person or via live stream. So your registration is included. So it's really the best deal. You can also join us for the launch event via live stream or in person separately, but I highly recommend the activation. Okay? And if you can't join us live for those activation sessions, there will be replays for those that register as well for a limited time. Okay? So if you did not know, that is a great thing to be plugging into right now. We also just did Inside Courage Co., our February masterclass on ridiculous freedom, and it was ridiculous in the best way. So that is available if you want to go receive and experience the impartation and revelation from that. All right, let's talk vulnerability. Yay, our favorite. We just love this. So vulnerability hangovers are what I believe happens when you show up and shine when you're not used to doing that. And really when you share your truth, when you share some of the most vulnerable things about you with other humans, okay? So this is what happens. It's essentially how honesty and being courageous can trigger regret, exposure, and even the urge to pull back. Like, that felt unsafe, let me pull it all back. And how to stay steady instead of shrinking, okay? Instead of like making yourself smaller after you just took up more space, you're like, nope, not safe, we're not doing that again. So instead of doing that, we're gonna talk about what you can do instead, okay? So there is, this is a great moment too if you know somebody that is in this time or in this season who has been experiencing this. Do share this with them. If you are a regular or if you're brand spanking new, subscribe. This is one of the ways that I can know that you're here, and one of the ways that honor is received and exchanged, and it's just a great way to know when new episodes are being released as well. Okay? So there is a specific kind of emotional aftermath that follows honesty that we can never quite feel prepared for, but you can at least know what it is, and then that gives you some peace of mind. Not that you feel better instantly, but at least you know what it is, right? So you say what's real, you say what's powerful, you open up, you share your truth, and then hours later, sometimes it's minutes later, but hours later, even the next morning, you feel the drop. You're just like, oof, right? Then you might start thinking through all sorts of things. You might regret what you shared. You might feel exposed. You might feel embarrassed. You might start overthinking and overanalyzing what other people might be thinking or experiencing. Okay, and you might hyper focus on that thing. There's an urge to send another message, to soften it, to try to take it back. You know, sometimes people will even delete their share. If it's on social media, let's say, they'll just delete it. There's an urge to clarify or to create more understanding because you realize that, you know, in a limited structure, in a limited space, you can only say so much, right? And then there's also the urge to disappear. Like that just felt like way more light or exposure than I feel comfortable with. I don't want to do that again. I did not like what that feels like, right? This is the vulnerability hangover, okay? A vulnerability hangover is what I define as an emotional and psychological reaction that comes after you've been honest and your nervous system realizes that it just gave somebody access to you. And you're so used to having your walls up and your guards up, and now all of a sudden you're exposed and you're like, I don't know. I just feel like I got naked in front of a whole lot of humans, and that feels real weird for me right now. Super awkward, okay? But here's what it doesn't mean. It doesn't always mean that you overshared. That's just sharing more than you normally ever share, okay? Sometimes it means that you told the truth. Sometimes it means that you shared your testimony. Sometimes it means that you told the truth in the wrong container and you weren't able to discern that until after the fact, and then you felt what that was like, right? Sometimes it means you're learning how to be seen without living unsafe. Like anytime you would share your truth before, you got in trouble or you got punished for it, right? Or you weren't even allowed to. You weren't allowed to be strong. You weren't allowed to have an opinion. And now when you're asserting those, you feel super uncomfortable, okay? So this episode is really about understanding that aftermath so that you don't spiral the next time that you get real. And the next time there's a similar demand to speak your truth shows up, okay? So here's what a vulnerability hangover feels like in case you've ever experienced one. Most people think that vulnerability feels like this like freeing moment, you know? And in the moment, it kind of is like that. However, it gets destabilizing after. So it's like in the moment, like it feels like maybe the best thing, right? Maybe you've been around friends that are like this too. They just like share so much, and then it's only after the fact that they're like, did I share too much? Oh, I like totally dominated the conversation. Sorry, I dumped that all on you, right? The destabilization is what catches people off guard. That after residue stuff, okay? And you might recognize some thoughts like this surfacing. Why did I say that? They're gonna think I'm too much. I should just send a follow-up text. That's probably a good idea. I shouldn't have cried. I shouldn't have revealed that much. I need to pull back now. Okay? So if those are some of your thoughts, what's happening isn't always that you made a mistake. What's happening is that your system, okay, is adjusting to being seen. Your system is adjusting to being seen. Now, if you've spent years being measured, evaluated, misunderstood, dismissed, or spiritually shamed for even having emotion, your body learned that exposure equals danger. This is bad. We don't do this. This is what your body knows to be true. That's why it protects itself by not sharing, okay? So even when you share in wisdom, your nervous system can still react as if you're in trouble. It literally thinks you are, and it's just doing what it does to protect you. That's the hangover, okay? Not the honesty itself, but the old wiring reacting to it, okay? And this is why you might feel mentally kind of like all over the place. It's where you might be moody emotionally, okay? And where you just feel tired and heavy. It's almost like, a similar experience to maybe when teachers, pastors, ministers, speakers, when they prepare so much to speak and to release a word or to release a message, it's afterward that they're like, ugh. They were able to like build up so much big energy, but then afterwards they're just like hungover. Like they just, are coming off of a big high and feel completely lethargic and tired and exhausted. Okay? So here's why these vulnerability hangovers happen. All right? There's several reasons for the aftermath that shows up. Old training is one of them. If honesty in the past was punished or if it was mishandled, your body learned how to just brace itself after disclosure. It was just like, whew, I just did that thing we're not allowed to do. Oh my gosh, right? So even in a healthy space, that reflex can still be there. So it now might actually legitimately be a safe place to share and a sacred space to share, but your old reflex is still saying it's not safe, okay? There might be no container. Could have been old training, there might be no container. So truth actually needs structure and it needs safety. A lot of people miss this part. And a lot of communities, quote unquote, don't actually create this, all right? If you share something real with somebody who cannot hold it, who minimizes it, who misreads it, who mishandles it, who gossips about it, your system will go into cleanup mode. It's just what it's going to do, okay? You feel exposed because there was no safe place for what you shared to land. And now you question if those people were even safe, which you didn't initially think about. So you shared, not even evaluating if it was safe to share, not even evaluating if these people are safe to share with. And now after the fact, sometimes you're like, oop, now I feel vulnerable legitimately because I may not actually be safe. And that might not have been a good thing. And sometimes we wrestle that out as we learn, okay? You might have a misaligned audience. This is another one. Not everybody who has access to your life, who is privy to information that they are seeing or learning about your life, whether it's social media, word of mouth, whatever, not everybody who has access has the capacity for your inner world. Okay? So some people, they legit want information. Hello, gossips. Like for sure they want information, but they don't have pure intention with that information. They don't have any intention of supporting you with it, right? Some people don't want intimacy with you at all. They don't want to see you. They don't want to support you. They just literally want information about you to use at their leisure, however they choose, right? And when you share, usually it's as simple as they want to indulge their curiosity, okay? But when you share deeply with somebody who only has capacity for surface, for shallow, your body will feel that alignment after the fact. That's why we're like, oh, like, why did I do that? Like, I can't believe that I did that. In the moment, your body doesn't always register that, okay? So, but it does pick up afterwards that something was off there, all right? There's actually a cost to real intimacy and few pay it, okay? Vulnerability is not performance, it is release. All right. So release always has a cost when you're used to managing perception. Like we are trained to manage how people perceive us. We are trained to make sure that we are pleasing people around us and that we're acceptable and approved by them. So when you, okay, actually share something without managing all of that, that's a cost. That's like a price that you're not used to paying. But it's also the cost of your authenticity. Okay, so if you've built your life around being composed, around being put together, around being seen as somebody that's like, I don't know, really evolved and mature and serious, right? Like if you've strong, self-contained, right? Telling the truth, that feels insane to somebody that is super composed, okay? That can feel so destabilizing simply because you're not controlling the narrative and how it's going to be received anymore. But it is more authentic and it's more honest and it will yield people actually seeing you. You will actually build depth and intimacy if you do it, but it's going to cost you something. Okay, so here is the immediate aftermath and what I could encourage you to not do. All right. When the hangover hits, and man, does it hit, there's this strong urge to manage the moment, okay? And to like hyper fixate and focus on this thing. Here's what you might want to do. You want to send another message. You want to like edit what just happened. You want to add more context. You want to apologize for being emotional. You want to soften what you said. You want to pull it back, but there's no take backs, okay? Like most of the time, the urge is not wisdom, it's anxiety. And you can feel that differently. Like anxiety is always like really vibrating intensely like this on the inside of your body. Wisdom is like peaceable and sound, right? So one of the most important disciplines after honest disclosure is this. Do not chase the moment. Do not chase it, okay? You do not need to do the follow-up text. You do not need to make sure that other people understand you, but you do need to soothe your discomfort. Self-soothe, okay? You don't need to apologize for being human and for sharing your truth, right? Like, would you want somebody else to be sorry for being honest? That sounds kind of weird, right? You don't need to over-explain your honesty. You shared your truth. And the truth might silence some people before it gets digested, okay? So if what you said is true, all right, and it was shared with integrity, okay, let it stand. Let it air out. Let it do what it was expressed to do. When you chase the moment, you're training your system that honesty must always be followed by some sort of retraction or management, that honesty is not safe, and that's not what you want to train yourself to do. That keeps you trapped in performance instead of being formed, shaped, and anointed. I mean, that'll just say la, okay? So here's what you can do, all right? Here's how you self-soothe, or here's how you stabilize after you've been honest, okay? Instead of spiraling and going into this downward spiral, here's a few stabilizing practices that you can engage in instead with all that fun energy that you got stirred up. Number one, name what is happening. Name what is happening. So your body's like, oh, okay, we're not dying. We're safe, okay? Say it clearly. My nervous system is reacting to exposure. Right? It's like, I'm freaking out, man. Okay? Your nervous system is freaking out, man. Okay? But it doesn't recognize, which is your job to tell it, I am not in danger. I'm allowed to be seen, and it is safe to be seen. Like, we're okay. Okay? Naming the reaction, just doing that alone will reduce all of that like angsty, anxious energy around it. All right? Number two, check your intention. Like, what really was going on there? Like, ask yourself some really powerful questions. Did I share to be known or to be rescued? Like, why was I sharing in the first place? Why did I think that that was a good idea? Did I share from steadiness or urgency? Like, did I share to emotionally process? Did I feel peace when I was speaking? An example of this, I have noticed that I have had moments where I intentionally think about meeting with friends, meeting with people in person. Intentionally, I'm like, okay, what is, like, do I really want to meet with this person? What is the point of meeting with this person? How do I want to spend time with this person? Like, do I want to be talking the whole time? Do I want to be asking them questions? Do I want to know how they're doing? Do I want to see how I can support them and cover them and run with them? Or do I want to like vent out stuff? Like, let me think about that intentionally instead of just winging it and just seeing how it goes. Like, let me prayerfully consider what the point of meeting today is and how that can be a blessing, not a dump. Okay? So in this way, if you shared from steadiness and from truth, the hangover is just old wiring leaving your system. And that's a good thing, right? If you shared from urgency, you're learning where to place boundaries next time. You're like, yep, that didn't feel good. We're not going to do that again. So you're learning, okay? Either way, you are learning, and that is a great thing. You're not going to learn if you don't experience some discomfort, okay? Number three, this is so big. I hope you can hear me. Evaluate the container of which you shared, not your worth. Come on, somebody. Evaluate the container, not your worth. Okay? So instead of asking, was I too much? Okay? Which is the tendency here. Ask, was this the right place for that level of honesty? Knowing full well that not everyone can handle honesty, especially if they like lies and judgment and criticism and gossip. They can't handle honesty. You should know that, right? So was this the right place to share that level of honesty, right? Like if people are shallow dwellers, like if they just live in the shallows, they can't handle deep honesty and deep truth. Are you kidding me? No way. They won't even filter it in the way that you intend. Don't even try to have it land there. There are only certain places where you can take deep levels of honesty. I would say to a therapist, to your coach, okay, to wise, sound counsel, to people that you trust to advise you, not judge you and criticize you and gossip about you and stalk you on the internet and not actually support you. Yeah, no, right? Again, was this the right place for that level of honesty? Because if it's not, it is going to some degree make me want to question my worth. That's a problem, right? Like if you're around people that you call friends and they make you question your worth, are you kidding me? Those are not your friends and they are not supporting you. Okay? So that shift alone, like number 3 is a biggie. That shift alone will protect your dignity, which is a really big deal, while you're refining your discernment. Because again, like we are working things out and walking things out in real time. And there's vulnerability and humility involved in that. Okay? But this shift alone will help you protect your dignity as you're refining that discernment. Okay? Number 4, bless your courage. Come on, like bless your courage, like celebrate what just happened there. You don't punish yourself for being honest. That's foolishness. You do not punish yourself for being honest. You acknowledge that you are learning how to live seen without collapsing afterwards. That means you're making more space for what is good, lovely, noble, praiseworthy, real. You're tired of shallow, you're tired of fake, you're tired of people that compromise and cut corners. Well, stop living like one yourself. When we're not honest, how are we different? We are doing the exact same thing, like fronting like we're not. Radical honesty will absolutely challenge you in the deepest ways, but it will make you more honest. And the more honest you are, the more free you become. Truly. Truly. Okay? Now, here's the disclosure ladder. Hopefully this is going to help somebody, okay? One of the most practical ways to avoid this repeated vulnerability hangover, because it's normal in the beginning, but it doesn't need to be what happens all of the time. Like you shouldn't always expect vulnerability hangovers, right? Like there's going to be moments where they happen and you can discern them, but they should not be happening all the time because you're learning, because you're growing and discerning and now using wisdom, okay? So one of the most practical ways to avoid this repeated vulnerability hangover is to understand this graduated disclosure, okay? This disclosure ladder, if you will. Not everybody gets the same level of access to you. And that might even change in different seasons. Where somebody had this level of access, sometimes you got to remove the access, sometimes you got to adjust the access, but not everybody gets the same level of access to you, and you need to know that. Just like when you look at your sphere of relationships, let's say, just picture it like a target, okay? At the center of the target is you and God. Nobody else gets access to the space that you and God have. Nobody, okay? Then outside of that circle, maybe that's you and a partner, a spouse, okay? Then outside of that circle, maybe that's you and some wise counsel. Then outside of that circle, maybe that's friends, okay? And it doesn't have to be many. You need just a few solid friends to really be solid, okay? Then maybe outside of that is some warm acquaintances, let's say, and then it's like everybody else, like the internet and anybody else that you encounter. Strangers, okay? Now, that helps you recognize not everybody, visually speaking, has the same level of access to you. People that are like all the way out here in the stranger danger zone, They don't get access to your core with God. You kidding me? And they don't get access to the most valuable parts of you. That is insane, right? That would be like giving somebody your social security number. No, not doing it, okay? So visually speaking, you get the idea. Not everybody gets access to you. Not everybody gets the same level of access to you, okay? So level 1, let's say, facts. Level 2, feelings. Level 3, personal stories, testimonies. Level 4, meaning. And level 5, wounds and needs. Okay? Many vulnerability hangovers happen because we jump levels. Like we just jump levels. We jump to 4 and 5 with people who are only trustworthy for level 1 and 2. Ugh. Like it just like makes my heart ache already, right? Like literally, this is where those hangovers happen. We do not discern that not everybody gets access to us. Sometimes we just think that everyone gets access, right? But when we're naive and we think that people are trustworthy and that people have the same heart we do and all the things, right? We just think that people can be trusted. Not so, okay? Definitely not in the world that we live in right now. So we give level 4, level 5, okay, access with people who are only trustworthy for level 1 and level 2. Hi, for the love, okay? This isn't about becoming guarded and having like the biggest wall imaginable so you can be super uber self-protected. This is not what we're trying to do here, okay? This is about becoming wise and discerning so that you don't have these vulnerability hangovers all of the time, okay? Because defrosting, kind of like waking up and becoming somebody that feels again, you're not just numb, right? It's like the equivalent of somebody that's been struggling with alcoholism becoming sober, right? You start waking up when you thaw out and you start feeling things you never felt before. You start dealing with things that you never imagined you'd be dealing with, right? Like there's a lot happening. Not everyone can be trusted with different parts of that journey. Some people are fixed on thinking that you're a broken human that's wounded and they can't see you as anything else. That person will not help you as you are pioneering the most courageous path of your life. You kidding me? Zero access to you. Right? If they want to see you only wounded, they do not get to have a voice in your life or access to your growth journey. They can't celebrate your change. They don't get to be a part of the change. That makes sense, right? So, access should be earned, not just given, and is earned through consistency, through seeing what capacity people have, and through alignment. All right? So it's not given simply because somebody is present. We can assume that. Like, for example, in a narcissistic dynamic, okay, if you have literally been in a relationship with somebody who is legitimately a narcissist, and I get that you can't fully diagnose that, but you know what I'm talking about. Specifically, those kinds of people try to mine you for information. And you might think innocently that it's safe to share with this person and they're genuinely interested and they would never use it against you because that's just such an awful thing to think someone can do. And it is. And they do that, right? So it is not safe just to give information with anybody, even if they seem present and interested. That might be the tendency. Oh, this person is interested. Let me share with them. No! Qualify that first before you just spew out information, okay? Spiritual and emotional formation. Let's talk about this because this is where a lot of formation is lacking and why we're in big trouble in the world right now and why we have a lot of people that are weak and not able to go through really tough times, okay? There's a deeper layer here. Learning to live honestly without immediately regretting it is a form of formation. Like really getting to this place where you are unapologetic about who you are, where you like who you are, and where you don't care what people think about you that don't know you in a genuine way, not in like an angry way. That is because something has been formed in you and you went through a period of not knowing that. Okay, so you're training your system, okay, to hold truth without it just completely collapsing under you. You're learning that being seen doesn't automatically lead to rejection like you thought. And sometimes it's okay if people don't like you and if they don't agree with you. Good. At least you have a stance. That's more than a lot of people, right? You're learning that you don't need to just edit your humanity all the time to maintain a connection, because that's pretty crazy. Like, if you have to constantly dumb yourself down, make yourself small, shrink, edit yourself in order to maintain a connection, that's just not a connection you should have in the first place, because it's not somebody that's there for a genuine reason. And why do you need them then? Right? But sometimes we got to get like this intense with ourselves and stop like living in denial and acting like we're just being nice. No, you don't need nice. Kind, sure. Honorable, yes. But naive or in denial? No, we're not doing that. Powerful people, mature people, we're not doing that. Okay? Some of you were taught that strength, all right, meant emotional restraint all of the time. Others were taught that vulnerability meant constant disclosure. Like, I constantly have to keep you up to date on everything that's happening with me. No, you don't. Like, some of that you can process first, right? Maturity is neither of those things. Okay? Maturity is measured honesty in the right place, at the right time, and with the right people. Can I say that again? Maturity is measured honesty in the right place, at the right time, with the right people. And as you mature, you realize that not all people are the right people. Not all things to share are ready to be shared. It's not the right time. Other times, it's not the right place to do it. And it would be disrespectful and dishonoring to do it in that way. Right? A lot of people on the internet really need this. And then when the hangover comes, maturity is steady instead of scrambling and really obsessive and freaking out. Like, the freak out isn't there. Like, the discomfort might be there, but you can work through that and process through that in a different way without losing yourself in the process, without feeling ashamed and embarrassed. You might feel uncomfortable, but you can evaluate that discomfort without having a shame attack. Okay? So if you've ever wanted to unsend your honesty, you are not alone. This is actually a thing, okay? And you're definitely not too much. It just might feel like too much emotion, too much from what you have trained to process and share in a intimate way with other humans. You're not weak. You're actually very strong and very courageous. And you're not unstable. You're not crazy, okay? But you are learning how to be seen without feeling unsafe afterwards. And that requires some meekness, some kindness, some gentleness, some self-control. Okay? This is not a personality shift. This is not like a midlife crisis or even a quarter life crisis or anything like that. This is just formation happening, which is uncomfortable. Whenever we are going through a growth spurt, it's awkward. It's weird. Okay? It's like in your body when you go through growth spurts, right? Like, things don't fit the way they used to. Like, you're like super tall or you're super short, or like you haven't grown in this area, or your face is breaking out. Like, it's weird. You get braces, like all sorts of stuff happens, right? Awkward. Well, that happens in your inner man too. Okay? So this week, if you feel the urge to react to something or just retract the honesty that you said, just pause. Just pause. Let it stand. Let it percolate. Okay? Let yourself sit with it. You're not in trouble for telling the truth. You're not a bad person. You're not doing anything wrong here. In fact, what if that's the bravest thing that you're doing? What if that's the right thing to do and you're trying to minimize it? Pay attention. Notice. Celebrate that you're becoming more honest, more courageous, and you're communicating with more power, more clarity, more boldness, more compassion. It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to be hung up on that. Okay? So if this episode resonated with you, share it with somebody who is learning to be honest without shrinking afterwards. Sometimes we can hear something like this and be like, oh my God, like you just validated or acknowledged exactly what I was feeling. Like, I feel so much lighter right? You can be that blessing that offers that to somebody else, right? And if this is supporting you, any content that you're getting here, do subscribe, do share, do take it further. Come train with us inside Courage Go. We genuinely are weird about making training fun, not like a dark night of the soul. Okay, you might be in one of those, but at least the training and the development can be something you look forward to and actually have some hope and some joy and some peace through, right? So come train with us in Courage Co. and make sure that you join us for Full Capacity Live. We are starting the 4-week live activation on February 24th. It's going to be really good. We're going to do really digestible nuggets leading into the Full Capacity Live book launch on March 21st. I will put all the details in the show notes so you can click on all the things, but here's what I recommend to keep it simple. Join the free 40-day devotional series straight to your inbox, because why not? They are rich. It's not just like an AI email. Like, I'm literally sitting here typing this up and making emails, and also making videos on my social media if you want to follow along there. So just join that. Number 2, join us for the live activation. This is all about encounters and freedom. It's going to be really good. And it includes your registration for the live launch, whether that's in person or live stream, or you can just join us for the live stream or the launch day itself. Okay. So that's some of the best things that you can do right now. You can also go back and re-listen to the Ridiculous Freedom Masterclass as well. That's available inside Courage Go. All right. I hope this blessed you. Until next